right. Hey, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawah Shai, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawah Shai, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawah Shai. By Sir Dash. I want to give double honors to our apostles, great millstone, rule well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. All right. I'm Zahar, Spirit Wind Judah, and today I want to go into a live stream entitled Living After the Flesh Made Us Strangers of Yahawah. All right. Living after the flesh made us strangers of Yahawah. Okay. Because, you know, when we were, before coming into the truth, all right, we lived after the flesh. All right. And shalom to the Akim and the Akwathium who are tuning in and who will be tuning in. All right. Like I said, we were strangers, all right, when we lived after the flesh. All right. Meaning that we didn't have the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahawah Shema Shai. So that made us strangers. That made us strangers to Yahawah Shema Shai. All right. As it says in Romans the 8th chapter, to be carnal minded is enmity with the Most High. The word carnal is another word for flesh. All right. That's where you get the word Carnelian. You have a gemstone called Carnelian, which Carnelian really goes back to flesh because it's the color of flesh. Let me see. This might be a Carnelian. This, I don't want to lie to you, but I think this is a Carnelian bracelet. But it's called Carnelian because it resembles the flesh. All right. It looks fleshly. Okay. But the point is, when we were carnal minded, we were at odds with Yahawah Shema Shai, because it tells you, which Romans is the 8th chapter is a good chapter to go into pertaining to this lesson. All right, pertaining to this topic. All right, but to be carnal minded is enmity with the Most High, and to be carnally minded, you can't please Yahawah Shema Shai, and that's part of the trial of our faith. Is to carry this torch in these earthen vessels. As it says in the scriptures, we have this treasure in earthen vessels. What are these earthen vessels? It's this body. All right, this body. When you're looking at me, all right, you're looking at my body. All right, this an earthen vessel. It's a vessel made out of earth and clay. All right, and when this body dies and your spirit ascends back into the spirit world, all right, pursuant to Ecclesiastes the 12th chapter, your body turns back into the earth. Some fish are jumping in the water or something, but your body turns back into the earth. Okay, your body turns back to the earth, showing you that this body, all right, has nothing to do with the Most High. It's of the earth. And Esau, he runs this earth based off living after the will of the body, based off living after the will of the flesh, because the flesh, pursuant to Romans the 7th chapter, has its own devices. All right, the flesh, pursuant to Romans the 7th chapter, has its own devices. All right, when the Most High programmed your flesh, because this is all His show, this is His theater. All right, this is His will. But when He programmed your flesh, all right, He gave it no godly instinct per se. All right, the water brother, GMS Mayakah Yahawah, Romans 8 and 7, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahawah, for it is not subject to the law of Yahawah, neither indeed can be. That's right. And like I said, the carnal mind is the fleshly mind. All right. And the carnal mind, yep, Romans 8 and 8. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahawah. All right. So what does it mean when it says they that are in the flesh? What does that mean? So you go into that word flesh in the Blue Letter Bible. I looked it up before I did this live stream, and it goes into the Greek sarkiskos or sarkiskos. All right. But it basically means the animal nature separated from Yahawah Shema Shai. The animal nature separated from Yahawah Shema Shai. Basically not being subject to the law, statutes, and commandments. So us as a people, without these laws, statutes, and commandments, we go off mere animal instinct. All right. And what you see in America and what America has done to our people, and ironically, the reason why we're in America as a result of what we did in the homeland of Jerusalem, we deviated from the laws, statutes, and commandments, and we were basically going off instinct. All right. And the Most High When he hardwired your nature, which your human nature is your flesh, all right, he made it very similar to animals. All right. That's why when you go into the word flesh in the New Testament, it goes back to sarkiskas, which means basically the animal nature in humans. That's why a nigga is somebody that goes after the flesh, and a nigga is basically a damn animal. Whether he in the hood or he's middle class, he's still an animal. He's only civil by the laws of the Romans, but as far as his morals, he's still an animal. What's a hoe or a bitch? You know, I mean, I gotta, in context, I'm using it in proper context. What's a hoe or a bitch? It's really a promiscuous woman. But that means she gets in heat and she goes off instinct and she has sex with whoever. That's a woman who goes after the flesh. That's a woman who lives after the flesh. So now in the red pill community, they have something called female nature. So you understanding the reality of a woman. But why do we have to expose female nature? Because this is a woman who is not godly. So she's not subject to the laws of the Most High, to the laws of her man. She's never been cultivated into the world of womanhood. So only thing she has is her mere animal instincts, which are primal. So 2/3 of our people, they're primal, they're primitive. They have a jungle mentality, whether it's in the hood or just the debaucherous nature of America. The Roman way is the heathen way. All right, that's right, salvation of the elect. There are beasts, as it says in the scriptures, brute beasts. Okay, so the culture that Babylon promotes is basically live like a damn animal. And Jake would have those t-shirts that says, you know, savage. Even women are calling themselves savage. But when Rihanna did that song, don't you know that I'm a savage, something to that effect? What was she talking about? She was saying, you needed me, I didn't need you. You were just another nigga on the hit list. You were just another man that she had sex with. Which means we have a culture, well, America has a culture, all right? America has a culture that calls people to be animals. But that's why if you're in this truth, you're superior than your own people. All right, you are in the word elect means elite, because you have these godly laws that subjects, all right, it subjects, all right, your flesh, all right. Let me get this scripture, GMS Maya Yahawah, Ecclesiasticus 15:20. And he have commanded no man to do wickedly, neither have he given any man license to sin. And the word license means permission. All right. Hey, oh, that's a cut. That's a cut on American culture. He gave no man license to sin. So why are we eating pork? Why are people eating pork? Why did you have something called women's liberation? What was women's liberation all about? It was giving women the liberty to go after their lust. It was giving women have liberty to gad a bride. It gave women the liberty to be a damn brute beast, man, to be an animal. And like your guy Kevin Samuel said, you know, our modern women strays. And I can answer that. They are strays, man. Women who think they could date and play the field, basically you're a stray. You're strayed from your Yahawah Shema Shai. All right? And basically you're an animal. Like how they would say a bitch is a female dog in heat. When our women get in heat, not all of them, but a lot of them, they function like animals. And what do animals do? They bark and they howl, they fight. Our people, what do you see in the hood? You see fightings, killings, all right? Sexual promiscuity, all right? You don't know who the daddy is. You get this guy from the red pill community on this channel called Fit and Fitness, and he was breaking it down to a science. He was like, when America became rich, it liberated women. All right, and liberated women was the downfall of the society. Because prior to that, all right, if a woman became promiscuous, then she would inevitably get pregnant. And if she got pregnant and nobody knew who the daddy was because of her promiscuous behavior, guess what? That would put a strain on the economy, because now we got to pull in money to help provide for this woman. All right, but America, because it's rich, it gave women license to be mere promiscuous and let the government take care. If she's poor, she could let the government take care of the baby, or through our tax money, or she might, you know, get a job because of women's liberation and take care of the baby itself, but it'll be malnourished. Maybe not through actual food, but through actual cultivation of not having a father in his life. All right, there's a science there. You can look up an article. There's an article breaking down, all right, growing up without a father figure. But all this is rooted in a society that allows you to live after the flesh, man. You know, it's rooted in a society that allows you to live after the flesh. Eating any damn animal that comes out the sea, that's living after the flesh. You know what that makes you? That makes you an animal. All right? Being a slave to your own devices makes you an animal, man. All right? Paul struggled to not live after the flesh because the trial of the elect is to carry this knowledge, this celestial, ethereal knowledge in these earthen flawed tabernacles. That's one of the trials of this truth, man, because your brain, your mind by default, pursuant to Wisdom of Solomon, the 9th chapter, how your earthly body weighs down your soul, your mind is carnal. So not only are your drives and your impulses carnal, your mind, your thought process without the Most High is carnal. So the more you in tune with the word, the more you study, the more you chopping it up with brothers, dealing with the scriptures, doing videos, the more you're feeding your mind manna. When you read the word, you're really feeding your mind that godly manna. All right? But when you don't feed your mind that godly manna, which is the word, which is the spirit of Yahawah Shema Shai, that real spiritual food, then your mind by default is going to meditate on wicked things. That's why when you're not thinking about the scriptures, a lot of times your mind, when it's in autopilot, you start thinking about vain stuff, man. Then you might be mad at yourself. Then you might ask for forgiveness, but your mind is part of your flesh. Figuratively speaking, your mind is a part of your flesh, brothers and sisters. But the more you in tune with this word, you feeding that good wolf. What do I mean by that good wolf? Like it says in the scriptures, the spirit is against the flesh and the flesh against the spirit. So your flesh is like a wolf and your spirit is like a wolf, and they're always warring against each other. But the way you determine the outcome of that battle is which wolf you feed the most. So if you feed your flesh the most, you're going to be dominated by the flesh and you're going to be doing fleshly things. But if you feed your spirit more, all right, the majority of your existence is going to be a reflection of what you read in the scriptures or what you watched the video on, man. All right? That's why brothers be talking about, like, even listening to music, certain music you listen to, certain things you watch. If you're overly consumed by that, you're basically feeding your flesh niggerisms, man. All right? And that's the difference between, a godly woman and Keisha. And so, when we say Keisha, that's like a disrespectful word. It's basically saying you're a nigger woman, man. A woman after her own mind, which is not her mind. It's programmed by Esau, Edom, the serpent. 2 Ezra 5:8. This is from Salvation of the Elect. It says, there shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be off sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters. Mistress women shall bring forth monsters. And Eve be single, right? Eve be a single woman, right? She'd be like 5'2". But her son would be like 14, 16, and he'll be like 6'2", big as hell, got dreads, and he don't know nothing. And he just a beast. He a young nigga. Now I'm not saying, all single parent household produce that, but that's our nation didn't produce single parent households. We had systems. All right. The laws were systems to maintain our civilization, man. All right. That's why it tells you if your son was a gluttoner and a drunkard, you killed his ass, because that nigga was still gonna go out and reproduce and not provide for his family. All right. See, we get on men too. He was gonna go out and reproduce, and there's gonna be a strain on our culture, because now we have to pull in and help this bastard baby, all right, or this fatherless baby, all right. You see that economic ripple effect? So you got rid of that liability. See, we had laws that weeded out liabilities, weeded out things that was a detriment to our kingdom, because We had a sovereign existence, meaning we didn't need another entity to breastfeed us, like America is doing, pursuing the Revelations, the 12th chapter. So we had to have these laws to weed out people who will weigh down our society and inevitably destroy it. Going back to promiscuity in Israel, all right? If the woman not proven to be a virgin, all right, and she gets a baby, well, who's the father then? And if we don't know who the father is, that's a strain on her household, the dad's household, because now everybody got to pull in to support this woman. All right. So we can't have a nation full of women that they don't have a man in their life, but they have children. That's a strain on the economy. The Bible was economical, man. Not the Bible, but the laws in the Bible it created a good economy. All right. The Most High knew what he was doing when women got arranged to be married off, after they finished puberty, man, or they got married off after puberty, man, because now when her hormones kick in, all right, she already has a man to handle that situation, to give her due benevolence, all right. But the trade-off was she was a helpmeet for him, and he was a provision and stability and some protection for her. That's a trade-off. That's economy. I think that's what they call probably microeconomy. All right. But now you just have our people having the freedom to do without will. The satanic doctrine doesn't mean that you in your room, with a goddamn hexagram on a floor with candles surrounding each point. That doesn't really mean that's not what living after say always means. The fact that you have a godless lifestyle, you're free doom. That's right, brother. The fact that you have a godless lifestyle, you have no moral restraint about yourself. That's actually satanic. Living after your own devices, that's actually satanic. Living godly means that you put the law, statutes, and commandment over your own devices, man. And that's what separates us from niggas. All right. We submit our, and that's why Islam, they got that from us, man. Submission to Allah and all that, they got that from us, because really we're submitting our own nature, and but without the laws, we all niggas, man. All right, you weren't, although we were, the elect were predestined, but without the laws, different from a nigga. You might be raised a certain way, your parents might have raised you a certain way or whatever, but without the laws, you essentially a nigga, man. All right. But the thing that makes you godly is the fact that you put the laws over yourself. You submit yourself to the will of Yahawah Bashim Awashai. And basically you kill the flesh. That's why it says in Colossians, the 3rd chapter, one of my favorite chapters, mortify therefore your members. Let me get this scripture right here. Vengeance of the temple, 2 Corinthians 6 and 17. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith Yahawah, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Hey, heavy, and I will receive you, man. And the Most High, I always told his prophets, man, before I give you these revelations, go on a cleanse, go on a fast, and then be isolated from the people. Now, we can't literally isolate ourselves from the people because we're in Esau's matrix. We got to go and work, but you spiritually isolate from them. That's why it says in Proverbs 18, a man having separated himself, seeking and intermeddling with all wisdom. Yahawah Bashim Awashai starts to deal with you when you start to separate from the culture of the 2/3 of your people. All right. Let me see. Brother brought out Galatians. Yep. Gashan 72, Galatians 5 and 17. Y'all brothers bringing it out this morning. For the flesh lusted against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the thing that you would. But that's part of the challenge, and the water for bringing that scripture out, that's part of the challenge and the trial of being in this truth. You got to carry this this knowledge, this celestial knowledge, all right, in these earthen vessels, and what's called the chains of darkness. Revelations 18 and 4. This is from In His likeness, Yasha Allah, And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, man. All right? Yep, come out of her, my people, man. And that starts spiritually. And ultimately, we are going to, our willing is us, we are going to ascend into the chariots. But first, you have to spiritually come out of her. Who's the her? America. American culture. The feminist movement. The do what thou wilt movement. The only God can judge me movement. The go to church on Sunday movement. To put tattoos all over your body. Although in Leviticus the 19th tells you, the 19th chapter tells you not to put tattoos all over your body. The I want his wife movement. Although the scripture tells you thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. It tells you in that. That's not something you debate about. It says it right there. All right. The LGBTQ movement. For every letter that they pushing, that letter is condemned in the scriptures. All right. Hell, sleeping with the animal is condemned in the scriptures. Bestiality is condemned in the scriptures. But you got all types of madness that you could just go on Google and see the people doing the very thing that the Most High said don't do. So to live after the flesh really means you're godless. Really, you're an atheist. Really, you're an animal. Like I said, 2/3 of our people, they're really animals. They're really brutes, as brute beasts, man. All right, and we were animals. All right, we were niggas. We were pagans. We were heathens. That's why the heathens and they're referred to as what? The lawless heathens. Really, the heathens, really the way it's supposed to be, we supposed to have a sovereign, we supposed to have a imperial look on the heathen, so we look down on them like they're animals. But since we disobeyed the laws of the Most High, because we follow after their gods, the Most High put us under them, so they look down on us like we're animals. When we walk into their stores, they're shaking their head like, look at these niggas. Look at these animals walking in our store, you know? Like it says in Job 30, now I am their song. Now they have me in derision, all right? That's why it says in Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, around the 6th, 7th verse, that I have seen princes send as servants and servants send among horses, man. All right? Because Esau is an animal. And he has to be tamed. All right? He has to be under subjection. You are not supposed to let Esau run free, man. This is what happens, all right, when you let Esau run free. Because that animal, he despises the law. All right? The heathens, they're waiting on us to come into power pursuing the Romans the 8th chapter, man. All right? Because they know that we got the juice. We got the laws, statutes, and commandments to regulate the earth. And then they know that when we come into power, after they build up our kingdom, then it's going to be a fair rulership, man. We're not going to oppress people. We're not going to starve out countries, all right, if they don't take our central bank. Well, actually, we will starve out countries if they don't want to serve you. How about some outside? But you know what I mean, all right? We're not going to have unfair dealings, man, all right? But with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahawah by Shem Hawashai by Shem Rachai Kodash. I also want to give double honors to our apostles, the great millstone Ruel. Peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. Abba, Kam Yashala, Shalom.